What's up, Game Boys and Girls? Big T here, back with another video, and we're going to talk about Nintendo's latest partner direct, but not really, because there ain't not much to talk about with that direct. We're going to talk about, I think what the implications of the direct are, not implications, but kind of the results of how I'm feeling after that direct, and just general discussion about things. I'm going to cover it a little bit. I'm not going to go through. There's plenty of videos from other people who are better at that stuff to go through, line by line, game by game. There were just a couple of games that I can remember that even interested me, and those are the mouse game. I think it was called Hella, because it reminded me to some extent of Moss and kind of the cool gameplay mechanics. Here's Moss. It is a PSVR game, but it's also on MetaQuest. I'm actually playing Moss 2 on my MetaQuest 3 back there, as you can see. Fantastic series, and just looking at that game just kind of reminded me of kind of gameplay ideas that came from the gimmick of VR and whatnot. So yeah, Hella, and then the other one was the story of Elliot, or whatever it was called, that action RPG, HD 2D action RPG from Square Enix. That looked pretty cool, and I'm sure there's probably one more, maybe even two more that I even thought to think about playing, but I can't think of them at the moment. For me, the direct itself was pretty booty. It was I was on Nia's stream a day after, and she was talking about Nia, the video game. Her, shout out to her if you haven't, you don't know who she is or subscribe to her. We're part of this Nintendo gaming community for over 10 years at this point, I think. Yeah, so she had a stream talking about the direct, talking about game key cards, which I want to talk about a little bit here as well. Yeah, like let's save that for last. Let's get to what I feel are kind of how I'm feeling because of this direct at this point. And we're 2 months about removed from the launch of Switch 2, almost 2 months when I'm recording this video. That would be August 5th, would make it 2 months. Right now it is August 2nd, so depending on when I put this video up. Yeah, so at this point, I thought, first of all, I thought the January Direct for Switch 1 was a much better introduction to Switch 1 than we got anything as far as that for Switch 2. We haven't really had this cool kind of interesting blowout, games and whatnot for the future of the console, and that's kind of my main problem right now. I know what's pretty much coming for this year. It would be nice to have release dates. I can't believe we still don't have release dates for some of these games, because we're in the last, we're past the last half of this year, and we don't have no release dates for games that are, I'm guessing, are not coming in December. They come in a couple months or even 3 months before that. So to me, it's a little annoying to not know that and not being able to be excited for that the way I was for Switch 1 stuff and Switch 1 game. So you can say, oh, the Switch 1 launch wasn't as strong because it didn't have, older, didn't have old ports that the Switch 2 had. But for me, it was a new console with new concepts. It was just more exciting. Switch 2 could never be that, unfortunately. It's not its fault, but it could never be that because it's, the concept of the Switch was we've already gone through that for 8 years now. So just continuing to say, oh, you can play these games on the go is not as exciting. It doesn't mean it doesn't mean it's bad, doesn't mean it's terrible. It just means it's not as exciting. So that part of it won't ever be exciting for the Switch 2 consumer, because we've already gone through Switch 1 and had that exciting stuff, gaming on the go, console gaming on the go. We already had that. So the excitement for me is new, cool new games coming to my Switch 2 exclusively, and I don't have much in the way of that. Mario Kart 8, I keep calling it Mario Kart 8 because we've had it for so long. Mario Kart World is alright. First of all, I'm not the hugest Mario Kart fan. I do enjoy Mario Kart games. I pretty much buy them all, but they're not the games that drive me. And some people say, well, derive everybody else. Nintendo just showed the numbers for Mario Kart World. I think it's like over 5 million. The attach rate is somewhere in the 90 percentile, which I understand, because it's like, yeah, I'm going to buy the bundle, because if I'm going to get my new Switch, what else was there? There was no other big Nintendo game. Of course you're going to buy Mario Kart World as a Nintendo fan. So the attach rate is super high at this point. So yeah, that's a no-brainer to me. But we got the announcement. Obviously, we knew about Donkey Kong Bonanza beforehand. We have it now, but that first month basically was just kind of pretty lame for me. I'm talking specifically for me. I'm not saying everybody should think it's lame. I'm not spreading propaganda or hate or anything like that. I'm just saying, for me, my sensibilities, my sensibilities as a Nintendo fan, it wasn't that compelling. Because it was just Mario Kart, and I knew Mario Kart was not going to hold me for very long. It didn't. I still play it occasionally, but I'm probably still under 10 hours in Mario Kart World, so it is what it is. I have Donkey Kong Bonanza at this point, which is great. But even knowing that, even having this game, it's not like it's not entitlement to hey, I just spent $500. I would like to know what's coming for the rest of this year, when it's coming, or even in the future. There's nothing wrong with sharing games to excite your fan base for the future of a console. Nintendo has always done that, and this idea of, oh, they don't need that to do that, they shouldn't do that, is booty. It's crazy to me. I disagree. You want to excite people about their new console. I don't mind hearing about games that are coming out in 2026. Hell, we're over halfway through 2025, so it's okay for me to hear about games that are slated for 2026. I would expect there to be almost, not completely solid release cadence or expectations from Nintendo what they're going to release next year, but I think they pretty much know what they're dropping next year, for the most part, coming from first party anyway, and that would be cool to know. It would be cool to know these things, right? So this idea of how dare you question Nintendo and not be excited for what they haven't shown us, it's crazy to me. And to me it's just fans wanting to deflect criticism of all kinds. Like, I feel like these are valid criticisms. There's a lot of nonsense out there, and like I said, some of that is created because of Nintendo's poor not management, narrative. They didn't really control the narrative well on the Switch 2 when it came out. The messaging wasn't great, and that is their fault, not unlike what happened with Wii U. It's not to that extent, obviously, but some of the bad messaging was their own fault. And that is the same on Switch 2. They were trying to hide prices of things, and in the kind of reveal direct, if you will. They were trying to hide prices. They didn't want to give people pricing shell shock, and that was on them. So there was a lot of speculation that came out of that. Some lies, obviously, but if they would have just told people up front what to expect, then that would have been a lot better for them. And obviously, it hasn't affected sales at this point. Switch 2 is over 6 million sales. I'm not surprised by that. I guess I'm a little surprised. I thought maybe it would be closer to maybe 5, 4.5, 5, but to reach 6 at this point is crazy. I'm not overly surprised by that. But a lot of that is core fans or people who've been clamoring for a Switch Pro for years. They finally got it. So I understand that. But to sustain that, those sales numbers, you're going to have to tell people what they're buying into. And at this point, we haven't had a whole lot on that. Yes, Metroid Prime Corruption. Metroid Prime 4, we know that is in the works and likely coming out this year. We know Pokemon is coming out this year. We've seen some things from third party like Madden and what do they call it now? Football Club FC. So that's all cool. Madden looks actually really good. We expect Call of Duty at some point to be announced and delivered this year. But we also expected some other Microsoft games at this point to be announced, and they haven't been. So that's some people's frustration. I don't care as much about that because I play those Microsoft games on my Xbox. So, but I know some Nintendo fans who are looking for more third-party stuff. They might be a little frustrated by that, but for me, I don't really care. I don't even care about Madden. You know, I haven't bought Madden game, brand new Madden game. I haven't bought one, 13, 14 years maybe at this point. So I don't really care as much, but I understand some fans do. So yeah, we just want to be excited by what's coming. There's nothing wrong with that. And fans trying to complain about other people complaining about these things, it's silly. But this is something that's always happened in the community, will continue to happen no matter how much we talk about it. But yeah, so like Nia Stream, she was talking, I feel like I curved the conversation, that I didn't want to do that. She did say she wanted to talk about that stuff, key cards and whatnot. And my feeling on key cards is like, first of all, I'm just annoyed by the fact that Nintendo doesn't offer more sizes for their carts. I don't know why. I haven't gotten an explanation on that. Developers, I don't know if they've gotten an explanation on why there aren't more cart sizes to curb some of these costs, especially when you have a lot of companies that will put out games on Switch 2 that are under 20 gigabytes, under 16 gigabytes even. You're expecting like, indie companies to pay for carts in the 64 gigabyte range for something that they can put out for 2 to 6 gigs. Like, that's crazy. We had it on Switch 1. Why don't we have it on Switch 2? It's that simple. Anybody upset about people complaining about this, just explain that to us. Why aren't there more cart sizes on the Switch 2 like we have on Switch 1? There's no explanation for it. I don't know why they only have 64 gigabyte carts. Is it a cost-saving thing for them so they don't have to make these different sizes? Or I don't know. It makes no sense. And so I'm annoyed about key cards because, yes, it's a way to, for these companies. I like the fact that they still have a way to put out, retail presence and be able to provide something for, potential customers and consumers in a physical manner at some point, at some capacity. Something that you can actually, yes, it's not locked to your account. It's not like a digital game even. It's like, it's almost like having a physical game. It's just not physical because you have to download the game itself from a server. So that aspect of it is cool. But my problem with that is Nintendo is offering a console with 256 gigabyte storage, which goes down obviously for the OS and whatnot running on there. And, you don't actually get the complete 256, right? And another problem with that is that, well, I already had a bunch of stuff, that required downloads, or I downloaded on my Switch 1 that already took that up already. So I have to go out and buy a special card now. So this is a hidden cost. This is literally a hidden cost for somebody like me who had a bunch of stuff on my Switch 1, and then I vowed that I wasn't going to do that again on Switch 2 because of, what happened. The ability, the fact that some of this stuff gets locked to a console, and now, I was worried about that happening with Switch 2. Luckily, we can't actually transfer our Switch 1 stuff with the Switch 2, but when I do that, I no longer have enough storage to do anything with a key card. So now I have to go out and buy, and I'm broke. You've seen in many, it's a principle for me. It's like you're forcing this situation, and now you're forcing people in my situation to have to pay more for, again, a special card, which I get kinda, but I'm looking at my, obviously the the resolution on the Switch 2 is higher than something like a Steam Deck, but not my Lenovo Legion Go back here. My Lenovo Legion Go can output higher resolutions and frame rates and whatnot, and I run those games off of a standard, micro SD card. I have games that are completely on my micro SD card that I can run at high frame rates So why is this a situation on Switch 2? People, argument to me is that, well, these games are high fidelity, blah, blah, blah. They don't run it. Well, I'm like, I have games on my handheld PC back here that run completely off the card. They run fast. They run, better. They run just as well as they do on my SSD. That's, on the actual hardware itself. So why is this an issue with I already know better. So I know better. I know these things can work. So why is this a problem on my Switch 2 specifically, that I have to buy a special card to run? I have graphically intense big games on my micro SD card on my Lenovo Legion Go. I should have turned this on and had this ready. I don't even know if I have any power in this thing. It might be dead. But yeah, here's where is it? Is it at the top? Where's my micro SD card? It's at the bottom. I don't remember anymore because I don't move it. So it's right here at the top. I have a regular micro SD card. Let's see. I don't know if you'll be able to see this on camera here. I'm going to try. But that's 1 terabyte. You could barely make it out there. 1 TB. And I run games fully off of this. High fidelity, intense games. And this is a standard, SD card. Micro SD card. So why am I having these issues when it comes to my Switch 2 only? Somebody's going to have to explain that hardware situation. Why is this not going back in there? Feels like something's in there or something. What's going on here? Do I have it backwards? Maybe I have it back. I have it backwards. Wow. All right. So yeah, I don't understand that. So somebody's going to have to explain that to me. So my issue with key cards is that I have to it is a digital purchase. It's a digital situation that's going to take up my hard drive space. So it's not, again, it's taking my hard drive space, which I don't have, so I have to put out, I have to spend more money to get this game to work at this point. And that annoys the bejesus out of me. And it's just like, why is this a situation? It shouldn't have to be this way. For either give us more hard drive space, because you are creating this situation, Nintendo. It's not third-party developers. It is Nintendo who built their, they built their console this way. This is the setup for their console, and they shouldn't be doing this to consumers. Again, it's not a situation where I don't have the money to do it. Of course I can do it. I don't want to. I just, because I feel like I'm being price gouged, and I don't like that. I like making purchases that I feel good about, that I don't feel like I'm being fleeced. And I feel like I'm being fleeced, where I have to buy a micro SD card. Obviously, Nintendo's not making money off that unless you buy a licensed one, micro SD card, or the express card, whatever it's called. But that's an expense. I feel like that's wrong to force your consumers to do early on in their I'm being punished for bringing my stuff over, basically, to Switch 2. From my Switch 1. I'm being punished for bringing or experience if you don't have a backwards compatibility issue, if you don't have a Switch 1, this may not be an issue for you. But because I had a Switch 1 and I had all this digital stuff on there, I wanted to bring over, and I have every right to. I'm being punished to do that, essentially. I'm essentially being punished to bring over my old stuff, and it's messed up to me. And again, I have that system there. I have a Steam Deck, and I run games completely off the hard drive. Big, intense games. I ran God of War, not 2, but the original one. I run Horizon Zero Dawn off of my Steam Deck, off the SD card. No problem, off my SD card. So why is this an issue when it comes to Switch 2? Again, I know the resolutions are better compared to Steam Deck, but these are PC games. Some of them with enhancements over the original console one that I can run off of my, my portable PC. So why can't I do that on Switch 2? Somebody's gonna have to explain that to me. So I don't want to partake. I don't want to buy an extra card. I'm not going to. So my stance is I just will only buy games that are on a cart. And it's unfortunate because it's not fair to companies who can't afford to pay for a 64 gigabyte card. They're not going to do that for small indie titles, which if you can't really see here. Let me see if I can bend it up here. But I have tons. This is not even all my games here. Tons of games, many of them indie titles on my Switch 2 that are on the cart. You know, completely. I love that. That's one of the things I loved about Switch 1 gaming and collecting, if you will, is that these games are on cartridges because they offer different sizes. Why they offer different sizes? I'll stop complaining about this issue, the key card issue, when the people who are mad that I'm complaining about it tell me why there aren't other sizes for Switch 2, why there aren't smaller size cards for developers to buy on Switch 2. Let's make that deal. I'll stop complaining about that. People like me will stop complaining about that when you can explain to me, or Nintendo explains to me, why, and give a good reason why there aren't other sizes for carts. 2 gigs, 6 gigs, 12 gigs, 16 gigabyte cards for Switch 2. Explain that to me, my complaints will go away. Explain it to me, it has to be a good explanation, obviously, and then my complaints about it will go away. So that's my video. Let me know what you guys think. Are you tired of the complainers? Are you complaining about the complainers? Do you have no complaints? This is all perfect for you. Some people don't care about this. Some people don't care about physical games. That's fine. I care about not just physical games, physical movies, physical music. I care about all that stuff. I don't like the idea of companies having this much power over your purchases after you've purchased it. And yes, there's ways around it, but that's not fair to the average consumer to figure out ways around it. Like, I've backed up my Wii U, I have a certain knowledge that the average consumer may not have. And maybe that's the future we have to have, where everybody's educated and to know how to do that. But they call that stuff illegal. When you do back up your games and whatnot, they try to make it illegal. So, I don't like giving companies that kind of power. You let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Thanks again for watching and listening. Make sure you subscribe to our brother, please. I know you guys are, you have a lot of options. I hope you make me one of your options on YouTube. Make sure you drop a comment, like. That stuff does help with the YouTube algorithm, so help me out with that. And I'll see you fools next time. Peace out.